I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'd be doing both the city, the residents, and the people that watch this video a disservice if I didn't mention and highlight how this whole city has been decimated by like a trifecta of different things. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Again, I'm up here hanging out in Flint, and I think that Flint gets a bad rap. Like, I spend a lot of time up here. I think that it's a great city. It's got great people. And although I haven't been here in a while because I've been traveling a lot, I try to make it a priority to visit a lot of the different cities that I love here in Michigan, and Flint is certainly one of them. Yeah, this place is pretty awesome. But then I'm looking at this sign and it said that you guys have been in business for 92 years. Is that like 92 years in Flint specifically?
No. In 1940, he came to Flint. 1928, when my dad quit school and started the business.
He quit school and started the business? He was 15 years old?
Yep. That's him. He didn't want his kids in the liquor business, so he got rid of the liquor and just called it Paul's Pipe Shop and Pipe Hospital.
So can you give me some insight on what makes a pipe unique? And because, like, for example, I'm looking at a lot of these different pipes up here. Is it a culture behind it, or is it just like, you know, you just pick a pipe and you just kind of get into it? How do people get into this?
We find most people get into it in the college year when they start going to college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's when they seem to gravitate towards the pipes. The pipe is actually made from the root of the briar bush, and it's called briar, the briar pipes. And the briar is priced kind of like a diamond. The older it is, the straighter the grain, how many flaws it has in it, determines the price of the pipe. Of course, that also goes along with who made it, or what companies made it, and what they think they can charge for it. We probably have somewhere close to 1 million pipes.
Wow.
Either already finished or in the process of being finished.
I've never known or gained so much insight into pipes and the whole culture behind it, but this place is pretty awesome. I got a special place on my heart for the city of Flint because it reminds me so much of what parts of and what Detroit used to be, and that it's just a resilient place, it's a resilient city. And so I like to browse and get around and try to find different people that I don't know, and some people that I do know, and businesses that I have a great relationship with, in order to try to just get away from it all so that I can, you know, kick it and experience things in a whole different vibe in a whole different city. This is my chill spot. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'd be doing both the city, the residents, and the people that watch this video a disservice if I didn't mention and highlight how this whole city has been decimated by like a trifecta of different things. One of the things that obviously plagued the city was the whole water crisis. But before that, like, the city was acting as though it was larger than what it was, and that it was anchored by the auto industry, specifically General Motors. And then once the housing crisis hit, it just completely killed everything because there were no jobs. And then all of the different places and the jobs that depended on, you know, these auto plants and the auto industry for their survival just completely hammered the city. And then you combine the whole idea behind the pandemic that was just a trifecta that completely killed the city, and this is what you see. Like, this is not an uncommon sight in a lot of the areas of Flint. And although this is probably one of the worst looking sites, because if you just look around, you can see trash strewn around. It's just neighborhoods and blocks of abandoned places. Like, none of these homes, none of these mobile homes, none of these regular homes behind me, none of these areas are inhabited. And it's like a forgotten space. Whereas if you turn over here and you look over there, all of those homes are inhabited, but this street specifically looks like something out of The Walking Dead. You can only imagine what happens at night. And then there are certain hoods and certain spaces where I do know certain people that live, that's a little bit better. But then again, it's almost like, what do? You know, like the police department's hands are somewhat tied. The mayor, I kind of feel sorry for them because, you know, they're handcuffed with budget restrictions and crime and a lack of jobs. And how do you market yourself? Because cities at this point are nothing more than small businesses marketing themselves to the biggest companies in order to be able to gain the most jobs and all that other type of stuff, and budgeting dollars and taxes and so on and so forth. But what do? You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, and people that are familiar with my history, you know that I highlight the good and the bad of all of the different places that I visit. And I just like to tell the full truth and the stories behind why things came to be what they are. So, you know, for me, just documenting exactly what I see is the objective. But again, I like to add context and, you know, highlight the reasons by which I see things happen in the way that they are. Look at this behind me. It's so unfortunate. It looks 10 times worse in person. So just documenting it on this doesn't do the video justice. But again, when you combine the water crisis with things not even being recovered from 2007 and 2008, and then you throw the pandemic on top of it, it's just like the worst of the worst of situations that can manifest itself in real life. I don't consider myself an urban explorer anymore. But as you can see, everything is busted up in the inside, and I'm not even about to go in there because it doesn't make sense. But this is just the whole street. I've just been walking and walking, and then people come in and they dump. Obviously, the responsibility does not solely lie on the shoulders of politicians, because politicians, in a sense, are just a reflection of the people that elect them. But it's really, really bad out here. I mean, really bad. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't see it as all being bad. Like, I think the sentiment among people is that the worst is behind them. I see a lot of development, even amongst the ruin, and I see growth. Business owners are moving a specific type of way in which they've been able to survive despite the draconian rules that's been imposed on them that has prevented them from being able to thrive or continue their businesses for some reason. And somehow they've been resilient, which is why they're in the positions that they're in the first place. But I think the biggest takeaway from this whole thing is just that don't forget about Flint. Don't forget about small town USA. And I know that it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of time, and people, you know, they get involved when it's the popular thing to do at the moment. But I love and champion the resiliency of everybody that lives in areas that are affected in negative ways, that somehow, some way come out on top and survive long enough to either thrive themselves or, you know, empower the next generation, or you know, they endure long enough to see the benefits. I think that Flint is one of those cities. I love this place. I'm always here, and I'm always going to be in all of the places that's not necessarily the most popular place to be. I'm going to be in the Las Vegases and the Miamis and, you know, the New Yorks and all of those type of places. But I'm also in Flint, and I'm in the smaller cities, the smaller major cities, the Milwaukees, the Pittsburghs, the Detroits, you know, places like that, the Clevelands, all these type of, or these towns that have survived and thrived and helped build this country. They deserve some respect too, and I'll be here to give it to them. All right, so I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for continuing to rock with me. Like, I'm gonna give you the whole spectrum of videos, and I love y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.